Welcome to my presentation on ethanol. So, Energy.gov explains that ethanol refers to the chemical compound CH3CH2OH, and a composite is a composite of various different plant materials commonly referred to as biomass. When combined with gasoline, ethanol increases the octane and decreases the harmful emissions due to the fact that ethanol is an alcohol. Ethanol is typically made from sugary starch-filled plants, and since in the U.S. there's an amazing abundance of corn, corn is the primary biomass in America that they use in ethanol production. The transformation from plant biomass to usable fuel occurs through a process known as fermentation, which involves anaerobic respiration, resulting in the production of alcoholic ethanol, as explained by the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Another article by Energy.gov is explained how ethanol-infused gasoline makes up 97% of all gasoline in America. However, the ratio of ethanol to gasoline is roughly 1 to 9 in most circumstances, with the exception of vehicles that can run on fuel that is 51 to 83% ethanol. These vehicles are known as fuel-flexible vehicles. While ethanol-infused gasoline does burn cleaner than non-ethanol-infused gasoline, it does produce harmful smog due to the greater evaporative emissions it generates. There's actually an interesting fact. Biofuels do produce greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide. However, these statistics are not included in the national greenhouse inventories due to the belief that the cultivation of these biomasses, the growing of them, will offset the production due to their consumption of CO2 during photosynthesis. Due to the different levels of ethanol and different types of fuel, and the different types of vehicles that can utilize these different fuels, ethanol has a variety of impacts on the economy. The development of new vehicles and technologies that can run on ethanol-based fuels is an opportunity for more jobs, and an increase in need for ethanol production creates jobs in rural areas where jobs are in dire need. As stated by Statista.com, ethanol production is directly responsible for 73,000 jobs and is indirectly contributes to 334,000 jobs. It also contributes 5.2 billion, yes, billion with a B, dollars to our American GDP. The American Coalition for Ethanol is a campaign that backs how ethanol can be created purely in America, and that there is no need to hassle with other countries or entities. They also boast the reduction in carbon emissions that ethanol-infused gasoline produces. Finally, they also display the lower cost ethanol-infused fuel has over non-ethanol infused fuel. As it stands, ethanol is in a tricky place. The financial cost and materials needed to create the biomass needed to produce ethanol is immense, not to mention the land needed to grow these plants and the deforestation that occurs in order to gain it. I do, however, think about the environmental impact CO2 emissions have, and the ethanol does reduce that. It also opens jobs and benefits our economy. The next step in a fusion of ethanol, the inclusion of ethanol has to be greater presence in the public, which involves advertisements and educational material of biofuel. I would establish an organized way to develop the biomass needed with an emphasis on the positive environmental impact. I would also develop the facility somewhere where there is a need for jobs and work. Finally, I would advertise the effectiveness and positives that ethanol brings to the world. Thank you. And these are my sources I used.